Oh, now. Ha ha. What have we here?
See, I got a ball of lip for property, so I slip my beanie on sloppily and promenade out to take up a collection. I got game like I read the directions. I'm wishing that I had an automobile as I feel the cold wind rush past. But let me state that I'm a hustler for real, so you know I got the stolen bus pass. Just as the bus pulls up and I step to the rear, this old lady looked like she drank a 40 or 50. I see my old school partner say his brother got popped. Pay my respects, can you ring the bell? We came to my stop. The street light reflects off the piss on the ground, which reflects off the hamburger sign that turns round, which reflects off the chrome of the BMW, which reflects off the fact that I'm broke. Now what the fuck is new? I need new. I spot the motherfucker in the tweed suit. I'm in his ass quicker than a kick from a grease boot. Eased up slow in the street. Could tell he was suspicious by the way he slid his feet. Didn't wanna fuck up the come up, so I smiled with my eyes, said, hey, how's it hanging, guy? Bumped into his shoulder, but he passed with no reaction. Damn, this motherfucker had hella Andrew Jacksons. I'm a thief, a pickpocket, give a fuck what you call it. Used to call them fat cats, I just call them Wallace getting federal. Ain't just a klepto, MasterCard and Visa, I gladly accept those. Sneaky motherfucker with a scam, know how to pull it. Got a mirror in my pocket, but that won't stop no bullets. Story just begun, but you already know, ain't no need to get down. Shit, I'm already low. Footsteps echo in the darkness, my teeth clenched tight like a fist in the cold sharp mist. I look down and I hear my stomach growling. Step to Burger King to attack it like a Shaolin. I never pay for shit that I can get by doing dirt. Linger to the girl cashier and start to flirt. All up in her face and her breath was like murder. Damn, the shit I do for a free hamburger.
Well, you got my number, you gonna call me tonight?
It depends, is them burgers attached to a price? I'm just kidding, I'ma call, even write you love letters. Thanks for the burgers, hook me up with a Dr. Pepper.
That's cool, you want some ice?
Yeah, and some fries would be hella nice.
Damn, my manager is coming, play it off, okay? Have a nice day.
I'm up out of here anyway. I use peoples before they use me, cause you could get got by a OZ over OZ. That's what a OG told me. Got to find someplace warm and cozy to eat the vittles that I just got. Came to an underground parking lot. This place is good as any. Fuck it, it's all good. Walked in, found a car, hopped and set up on the hood. Ate my burger, threw back my cola. Somebody said, hey, it was a rent-a-pig. I thought it was a roller. Want me to call the cops? I don't want them to see me. Looked down, saw that I was sitting on a Lamborghini. It was roses, Ferraris, and Jags by the dozen. A building door open. Damn, it was my cousin. Getting off of work, dressed up, no lie. Tux, cummerbund, and a black bow tie. Was like, hey, who is it? Me. Oh, what's up, man? I just with this company. They hella racist and the pay was too low. I said, right, what was up in there, though? A party with rich motherfuckers, I don't know the situation. I know they got cabbage, owning corporations. IBM Chrysler shit is what they said. Just then a light bulb went off in my head. They be thinking all black folks is resembling. Give me your tux and I do some pocket swilling. Finna change in the bathroom and I freeze off my nuts. Let's take a short break while I get into this tux. Damn. Alright.
Yo, what's going on? NPC the game here. Black Skin in Taiwan. Gabriel Carbro. It's Monday, January 22nd, 2024, Year of the Dragon. And is having a 9-to-5 job really hell? Let's see. What's his name? The poet Charles Bukowski said, how in the hell can a man enjoy being awakened at 8:30 a.m., buy an alarm clock, leap out of bed, dress, force feed yourself, shit, piss, brush your teeth and hair, fight traffic to get to a place where essentially you make lots of money for somebody and you're asked to be grateful for the opportunity to do so. Right? And that's from a letter, a brutally honest letter he wrote to his friend about when he was ranting about having a 9 to 5 job. So, is it really that bad to have a 9 to 5 job? Is it really that bad? Is it really that bad? I don't know. Let's see. Let us see. Take a walk with me. This is from a Reddit post on unpopular opinion. My words, his. So working a 9 to 5 job isn't the hell on earth I've seen people claim it is. To start with, I like to say that I know working a 9 to 5 has its downside. It's awful and sometimes, and it's often incredibly stressful for a lot of people. Every job is difficult to some capacity, and if you wouldn't do it for free, then it wouldn't be that hard. Not no one really likes to work unless you're one of the 1% who managed to find a job doing something you love. And I'm not trying to make anyone's suffering seem insignificant. I'm trying to offer perspective. I started to notice a trend amongst the people I know who work in office jobs and also online and a YouTube space too. A lot of videos have been coming up about working 9 to 5 jobs and the algorithm. This idea that working a 9 to 5 is literally hell and inhumane. Trying to understand. So, working as a kitchen manager, I spent at least 40 hours a week standing in a 45-degree it's the Celsius, right? Kitchen with no air conditioning, no ventilation other than smoke, extraction fans, wearing fire grease proof pants and apron, grease proof boots and gloves. I spent an additional 15 to 20 hours a week preparing, cleaning, and ordering ingredients, having meetings, fixing shit that broke, rostering shifts, and dealing with accident reports, as well as being a part time pseudo accountant for the owner. I know many other kitchen workers whose lives are unbelievably hard, some much more than mine. And we know some people who are offshore oil workers. This is from another post about offshore oil working. They said I work on a rig in Alberta, Canada for a year and 3 months. And when I quit, I was working as the motor hand and would have moved to another part of Canada if I stuck it out. I worked on a double and never did any camp work and was always staying in dirty motels, $150 a day. Living allowance is nice. We did all horizontal drilling, so we averaged about 15 to 20 days a hole. And our hitch was 2 to 1, 2 weeks on, 1 week off. However, we always were short guys, so you could always pick up more time if you wanted. The most I did was 40 night shift in a row. That really screwed with me until I got my days off. And my assistant ended up working sometimes like 90 days in a row. However, he's freaking nuts, man. It's hard, dirty, and can be dangerous work. This is mostly due to the people you work with being hungover or fucked up on something. Most of the time, people aren't great. You're always away from home all the time, and you work no matter what the weather is. It's like the coldest I ever worked was negative 46 degrees with a negative 58 with wind chill. It sucked. However, this sounds very redneck. However, it made me feel like a real man, and the money is really nice. It also gets you in shape fast. So starting out as a lease hand blows because you are the bitch and everybody rides your ass hard. It's almost like they're trying to make you quit, but if you get through it, it gets a little bit better. It drove me nuts. No one really takes the time to show and teach you things. And when you screw up because you don't know what you're doing, you get screamed at and called an idiot. Fun times. I ended up quitting because I had a wife, and after a close call on one hitch, she would bawl her eyes out every time I left. So I quit, went into electrical work for a bit, but I didn't like that. And now I'm at school becoming a nurse. Laugh out loud. Well, the plot twist. Now, this is all my experiences to take with a grain of salt. Every company, every rig is different. I also want to add that I work with a drilling lubricant called Invert. It was nasty shit that they pay you an extra $35 a day to work with it, which was not worth it as it was hard on your boots and gloves and it would stain the skin. And only showering with sunlight detergent would remove it. And it would give you these nasty pimples. It was gross. So these are some of the things you have to deal with when you're dealing with these non-conventional, not 9 to 5 jobs. Shout out to Jeremy. Bring him up in a second. Perfect conversation. Been thinking about this so much. Yeah, it is an interesting thing to think about, 9 to 5 versus, because I know you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, and you really have to get after it. There's really no, well, at least in the beginning, there's definitely no days off until you get situated. That's the way it be sometimes, right? And so we're gonna talk about these things. Bring you up in a second and see what's really going on with these 9 to 5s and whatnot. So yeah, but then this person goes on, this other person, about asking the question: is working a 9 to 5 job, isn't it the hell on earth? I've seen people claim it is. That's the question. So they also were, not only were they kitchen manager, but they said working as a bartender, I spent 40 hours per week living in the night time. Most people wouldn't believe how bad the sleep schedule for the average bartender is. I sleep during the day, even on my days off, Sunday and Monday. And in total, I probably slept about 40 hours a week. I've been in fights, called the police about once a week, every week. Been threatened with needles. Seen people been gassed. I've been sexually harassed, assaulted many times. I've once had to help a 13-year-old girl who was drugged and nearly raped, and called the ambulance and her parents. I'm not trying to post about how tough I am or how hard my life is. I'm trying to understand why people think that a 9 to 5 work is difficult. The friends I have who are in an entry-level office jobs get paid around $75K a year, sit in air-conditioned offices, wake up at a glorious 6 to 7 a.m., have regular schedules, which I'm unbelievably envious of, and have weekends free. I and many I know get paid half of that and easily work just as hard as not, if not harder. From my point of view, the 9 to 5 life is a dream, and a lot of people I know deeply envy it. It's not hell. To many I know, it seems like it. So that's their point of view. I don't know. It don't seem that bad. Let me get Jeremy up here. Let's see what he has to think. Let's play this real quick while we get our friend up here.
I'm ready. fresh, dressed like a million bucks. I'll be the flyest motherfucker in the Afro in a tux. My arm is at a right angle up, silver tray in my hand. May I interest you in some caviar, ma'am? My eye shoots round the room there and here. Noticing the diamonds in the chandelier. Background, Barry Manilow, Copacabana, and a strong ass scent of stogies from Havana. What no place where a brother might been. Snobby old ladies drinking champagne with rich white men. Alright then, let's begin this. Nights like this is good for business. 5 minutes in the mix, notice several different clicks, talking, giggling and shit with one motherfucker in betwixt, and everybody else jacking him, throttling. Found out later he on Coca-Cola bottling. Talking to a black man, who's he? Confused me, looking hella bougie. Ass all tight and sedity. Recognize him as the mayor of my city who treats young black men like Frank Nitty. Mr. Coke said to Mr. Mayor, you know we got a process like Ice-T's here. We put up the funds for your election campaign. And waiter, can you bring the champagne? Our real estate funds says opportunities arousing to make some condos out of low-income housing immediately. We need some media heat to say that gangs run the street and then we bring in the police fleet. Harass and beat everybody till they look inebriated. When we buy the land, motherfuckers will appreciate it. Don't worry about the urban league of Jesse Jackson. My man that owns Marlboro donated a fat sum. That's when I step back some to contemplate what you know. Sat down, wrestle with my thoughts like a sumo. Ain't no one player that could beat this lunacy. Ain't no hustler on the street could do a whole community. This is how deep shit could get. It reads macaroni on my birth certificate. Putin Tang is my middle name, but I can't hang. I'm getting hustled, only knowing half the gang. Shit, how the fuck I get up out this place?
Well,
how the fuck did I get out of this place? Fuck this Kensington Ave. Shout out to PA. The Slavery of the 9 to 5 by Charles Bukowski. And so I'm going to be reading this real quick. This letter, this rant that Charles Bukowski had to his friend about a 9 to 5 job.
Hey, bro.
What's up, man? How's it going?
No, it's good. Hold on. Let me put you on my speaker. I mean, on my headphones there.
Well, yeah. Go ahead and mute it for. Good to have you. Could you mute it for a second? I'm going to read this letter.
As soon as I figure it out, I will.
Okay.
Bluetooth. It says they're connected to that. Hello.
Damn.
Yeah, for some reason you're coming through my phone, even though my ears are connected. Let me see here.
You're clear.
All right. Well, maybe I'll just forget about my earbuds then.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. And as far as putting it on mute, I don't see how to do it yet.
There should be a microphone by your avatar.
Oh yeah, I got it.
You can press it. Yeah, on and off. Thanks, man. We'll come back on in 1 second. So 9 to 5, The Slavery of the 95 Job by Charles Bukowski. This is his take, ranting. Who knows what was going on when he wrote this letter to his friend so many years ago. So he said, "Hello, John. Thanks for the good letter. I don't think it hurts sometimes to remember where you came from. You know, the place where I came from. Even the people who try to write about that or make films about it, if they don't get it right, they call it 9 to 5. It's never 9 to 5. There's no free lunch break at those places. In fact, and many of them, in order to keep your job, you don't take lunch. Then there's overtime, and the books never seem to get the overtime right. And if you complain about that, there's another sucker to take your place. And you know my old saying, slavery was never abolished. It was only extended to include all the colors. And what hurts is the steady diminishing humanity of those fighting to hold their jobs. They don't want, but fear the alternative worse. People simply emptied out. They are bodies with fearful and obedient minds. The colors leave their eyes. Their voice becomes ugly. And the body, the hair, the fingernails, the shoes, everything does. As a young man, I could not believe that people could give their lives over to these conditions. As an old man, I still can't believe it. What do they do for it? Sex, TV, an automobile on monthly payments, or children? Children are just going to do the same thing that they did. Early on, when I was quite young and going from job to job, I was foolish enough to sometimes speak to my fellow workers. Hey, the boss can come in here at any moment and lay all of us off, just like that. Don't you realize that? They would just look at me. I was posing something that they didn't want to enter into their minds. Now, in industry, there are vast layoffs. Steel mills are dead. Technical changes in other factors of the workplace. They are laid off by hundreds of thousands and hundreds of thousands, and their faces are stunned. I put in 35 years. It ain't right. I don't know what to do. They never pay the slaves enough so they can get free, just enough so they can stay alive and come back to work. Job just over broke. I can see all this. My co-workers couldn't see it. Why couldn't they? I figured the park bench was just as good as being a barfly was just as good. Why not get there first before they put me there? Why wait? I just wrote in disgust against it all. It was a relief to get the shit out of my system. And now that I'm here, a so-called professional writer, after giving the first 50 years away, I found out that there are other disgusts behind the system and beyond it. I remember once working as a packer in the lighting fixture company. One of the packers suddenly said, "I'll be free. I'll never be free." One of the bosses was walking by. His name was Maury, and he let out this delicious crackle of laugh, enjoying the fact that this fellow was trapped for life. So the luck I finally had in getting out of those places, no matter how long it took, has given me a kind of joy, the jolly joy of the miracle. I now write from an old mind and an old body, long beyond the time when most men would ever think of continuing such a thing. But since I started so late, I owe it to myself to continue. And when the words begin to flutter, and I must be helped upstairs, and I can no longer tell a blue bird from a paper clip, I still feel that something in me is going to remember. No matter how far I'm gone, how I've come through the murder and the mess and the moil to at least live and die in a generous way. To not to have entirely wasted one's life seems to be a worthy accomplishment, if only for myself. Your boy, Hank. Nice. Your boy, Hank. Okay, let me get this. Kick this person from the studio and then bring him up. Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, man, this has really got me thinking. Like my
Yeah.
mind is racing.
Yeah, what's up? What you got? What you got for us? What's really
I
going
mean,
on?
it's like I first of all, I got like seven thoughts simultaneously, and I'm just debating how to get them out. Because what you said about how you were considering, how you see it as sort of a dream job to have a 9 to 5 job. Um, it's I can see that perspective at the same time that I was going to say something completely different.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
on a more metaphysical level, I was going to say, what are we really dealing with here? Is it really jobs that we're talking about, or is it a kind of a slavery? You know, I mean, what we're talking about is the sublimation of our own desires to that of someone else's agenda for a certain number of hours of our day. Which
Hmm.
is slavery.
Yeah.
However you want to slice it, and it's just a question of which sacrifices are you going to make? Are you going to sacrifice your prime hours of the day, the sunlight? You know, are you going to give over your sunlight hours as a diurnal animal, right? And achieve the most stability in the hopes for what? A future, you know, look at Frankel. What did he gave this beautiful example of this guy, and they're in concentration camp, and this guy, he has this vision that he's going to be released. Liberation Day is going to be, I can't remember the date. Whatever, pick a date.
Hmm.
And he's looking forward to this date for egg grinding through every day. But he's got this date in the future where he's going to be liberated, right? So he makes it
Right.
through all the toil and all the horrible things. Finally, the day arrives, fucking dies that day of a heart attack.
Man.
And what is that? It's like because human beings need hope, to live. We live on hope of a future that we're positing. is going to come into
Right.
existence if we just do certain stuff, right? And then, like me, if the fabric of the universe gets ripped open, and you see that like all of that was just a complete, it was just ideation, it was just mind stuff, this future thing that you were. Of course, you got to be rational and plan to some degree. You got to store away your nuts, but on the other hand, you also have to see that you're just playing mental games if you're imagining decades into the future of some kind of thing that you think is going to exist. So,
Hmm.
listen, I started working at 14, those crazy jobs, dumping lime into fish pits or fucking carrying dead dogs to freezers or being screamed at by bosses or, all that shit. And then I only briefly worked 9 to 5 for like, a few years of my life. I got out
Hmm.
of that. And once I was out of it, of course, I went through extreme swings of poverty and getting money and then poverty, because if you're a freelancer, I was a freelance translator for 25 years. So a couple months in the bank of rent or anything like that, even with a family. So, but what I did have was the ability to know that I could generate income on my own, which is a kind of stability because you're not going to get fired by somebody, right?
Right.
And I had a lot of free time. I mean, sometimes I worked 14, 15, 16 hours a day because if you're a translator, you translate by the word. So when you get a project, you want to do as much as you can. You just work like crazy because you might be months before you get another job or weeks or you don't know.
Hmm.
But anyway, those feeling like the time that you've time to yourself of your own choosing is the same as money. If you're using it to do what you want to do, and money is just a thing to get what you want. You know, so it's all the same.
Yeah, it's all the same, but it's. I do answer the question. Ask the question: what do you do? What do people do that have a 9 to 5 job? Like, how do you get anything else done?
Yeah, yeah. But on the other hand, I have uh, a friend, let's just say, who works a night job. Right? She didn't get enough hours, and her job entails dancing and being forced to drink for incentives, and she's trying to lead a life in the in the daytime world, right, at the same time that
Mhm.
she's working nights, and that's completely untenable, right? So
You got to sleep. You got to have
right,
some
you have
type
to
of
sleep and then you
space
have to
valve.
wake up and deal with the rest of the world, which is living in the daytime world.
Yeah.
So that's pretty untenable. So here you are saying the opposite. So how do you give over your entire. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that a lot of American society just doesn't provide good enough service for you to do that. I mean, how is it reasonable that you work a 9 to 5 and then you come back and you got to deal with like calling customer service, which ends at 5, or
Hmm.
like you got to
Right.
call the credit card company.
Over
Like
here, Taiwan, maybe Japan's like Taiwan, where we don't have
it's
the
better.
garbage cans. We don't. Oh, okay.
It's
Like you're
it's
talking.
much better. It's much better here in
Well,
Japan.
you don't have to. Well, again, I'm going to give you a different. I mean, a specific situation. Maybe
Hmm.
you understand this one. Like here in America, we put our garbage in a garbage can and we put it out in front of our house, and maybe once, two times a week or 3 times a week, the garbage come truck comes and picks it up. Right.
I hear
Whereas
you.
here
Yeah.
in Taiwan, the garbage truck comes down your street at a set time, usually in the afternoon or evening, and you drop off your garbage in it a couple times a week. Now, if you have a job, a 9 to 5 job, and let's say the garbage comes at 4 p.m. every day,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
how the
Yeah.
hell are you gonna do something
It's not.
simple as throw
It's
your
not like
garbage?
that in. It's not like that in Japan. It's not like
Okay,
that in Japan. So no, that's pretty. That
because
sounds
you see
pretty
how that could be
ridiculous.
very kind of hard.
I can see
Um,
how that would be impossible, actually.
yeah. Yeah, it
So
does
no, I
come
don't.
at 8. I have to say it comes a couple times, or like maybe two or three times a week, and then it comes in the afternoon and also in the evening. But some people, they work that swing shift, and they're not even going to get there at 3 or at 8 o'clock.
No, in Japan,
You know what I mean?
every place that where you live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's an apartment building or whatever, has got if you have a house in in the country, then there's going to
Hmm.
be a neighborhood garbage thing that may be a little bit fenced in, or maybe not even fenced in. Actually, it was a problem. We would just put our garbage bags on the street, and the
Yeah.
crows would pick at them, and but people would come and clean them up, you know. So
Yeah.
and if you live in an apartment, then the apartment has a little place where people bring the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a cheap apartment, you can only do it a few times a week, which sucks
Yeah.
in the summer. If it's an expensive place like mine, fortunately now, for whatever reasons, I actually am okay now. Um, then you can do it anytime. They've just got a place and you just bring your garbage down. It's really convenient. But we used to have to put our garbage in the freezer in the summer because,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like bugs and freaking
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
smell,
Humid.
the
Humid
smell.
over there.
Yeah, well, what about Taiwan? What's your garbage
Of course,
smelling
it's
like?
humid. It ain't really smelling because we
especially if
got the
you,
air conditioner.
especially
We
if
not.
you if
uh,
you eat fish once in a while, like it's untenable.
no, man. If it's fish, that ain't staying overnight. I'm going to the gorilla style and going to the park and
I
throwing
hear
away
you.
the garbage and but
Yeah.
everyone else does that too. And you
The
see by
cats
the
will
end of
eat
the
that
night,
shit. Yeah. Yeah,
it's
but
all
Taiwan's
full
messed
of
up.
garbage and stuff.
Taiwan's weird though as a country because China fucks with you, and it's got this old infrastructure left over from mostly from the occupation by Japan,
Oh yeah.
and
Some
they
good
did a
things
good
from them.
job, but it ain't gonna last 80 years without some help. And China has been, not cooperating with Taiwan being able to modernize in a lot of ways. And
Oh well, I mean, China has really no say in modernizing Taiwan, really, because they have
really,
nothing to
mm.
do with government here. They may
Well,
call
but
them
what about
the
what?
Republic of Taiwan, but there's no affiliation or connection
Yeah,
with
but you
them.
can't say that. You can't say that either because there's all sorts of international monies that might flow from I don't know international organizations when Taiwan isn't even allowed to put out their flag that they're a nation. So
Yeah, yeah. Under normal circumstances, a country with good faith, they would help others around them, especially with the history of them. But it's not like that. They don't want. Not only does China not help Taiwan, but like as you know, they encourage other countries to not help them either, be allies
yeah,
with
that's
them.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
It's kind of a weird situation if we're going to talk about this because on one end it's like they're mortal enemies, right? that's
yeah,
that's the main ops, as we say, right? However, there's a lot of cross straight business going on back and forth, and also social situations where families are inter enmeshed.
yeah.
So
Oh, it's
even though
so
they're
it's so
ops, extremely
yeah.
opposition,
Yeah.
they're they're they're
It's
they're,
it's
they're
it's
tied
it's
together.
they're
It's very
like they're
odd.
like yeah they're like family members that hate each other, but
Yes,
but
exactly.
half of Taiwan wants to be with China, as from what I
No,
saw.
no,
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 not
okay, not
that's
anymore
what I
then.
see. Not anymore.
When I was there like
Yeah.
8 years ago, it seemed like there was a lot of there was at least some of the people felt like, well, China is our roots and stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
some of
mean,
them will
like,
say that, but they prefer they may think that, but they prefer the status quo, which
well,
it
because
took me
also
years to understand that.
they have
Like
tremendous
that's what
pride, for example, in the fact that they're, speaking strictly from the standpoint of Chinese purity, right, which Chinese are really into, this whole Han Chinese that came to Taiwan, they're still writing traditional Chinese, whereas the mainlanders are writing this like stupid, primitive, Chinese script
gangster.
Mao Zedong,
Yeah,
and so they're quite proud of
yeah.
it, Taiwanese, very proud because
Also,
I run a translation
religion as well.
company. And yeah, man, Taiwanese people, they don't want to be. They laugh at the they kind of laugh at the simplified Chinese a little bit.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's definitely like a rudimentary form.
But anyway, back
You
to the jobs thing. Um, we were saying the daytime job versus the nighttime job. And you can see the
swing.
benefits of that. But really, I don't really know that it's a time thing because it's really I think it's an alignment thing. Okay. I mean, if it's the same as anything, if you're aligned with your purposes, then you're not in resistance and everything flows. But if you're
Mhm.
in your
Absolutely.
head fighting against, oh, I'm wasting my time. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate this job. I hate the people around me. Japan's been changing and it's less good than it used to be. But I originally found my experience is that Americans are generally very frustrated and unhappy and hate their jobs more than Japanese do.
Hmm.
And I think that the reason for that is pretty clear to me, and it has to do with the the way of thinking that we put on our kids from the very beginning is that Americans are quite aligned with like being individuals and everyone having the potential for being the greatest. Like you're no, not even the potential, but like do it right, and you're going to be the president of the, the United States
Yeah.
someday. But in
Upward
Japan,
mobility.
yeah, but and all through through your effort and your effort to climb to the top and stuff like that. I think China is somewhat like that, but Japan is
Mhm.
much, much, much more into showing people that they are. I want to be careful about how I say this because I don't want to say not special. Okay, it's not. The thing is, we think special is a good thing, but in a way, special is a bad thing because it's the same thing that make people feel separate and weird and I don't fit in and right. So
Mhm.
it's the commonality. It's the you can do what that guy's doing. It's the you know. It's the you're the same as everyone else. That gives you the comfort that um, it gives you tremendous comfort. Really, I mean, think about it. It's a gift to be the same as everyone else, really, because you don't have to have all this anxiety. And now, let me just like even further expand this conversation by saying, the very reason that the social media um, insanity is going on, where we have you know men with beards, right, who now say that they're things. I'm a male woman. What's so hard to understand about that? Right? It's because they need to feel special in order to feel validated. People in Japan don't need to feel special to be validated. They need to feel normal to feel validated. Okay? That's a huge difference.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. In general, yeah, I can see that over there from outside. It seems like that what you're saying. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. But
you
then
know,
again, it's like America, like you said, they're striving for being individualistic and being special and going beyond what they being ambitious, going on beyond what they ever thought they could do. And but which leads you not to be strived for mediocrity.
you
And
use
in
the
a
word
way, you
mediocrity, but it kind of sounds like a negative the way you say
well,
it, you know?
it is a negative. It is a negative
But are we
connotation,
really
but
talking
it's
about
still, but it's
mediocrity?
still,
Okay,
but
all
it's
right.
still
I
a word.
mean,
It's still the word we use, though. Yeah.
yeah, but it's based upon a cultural value that exists in our fishbowl but doesn't exist in other countries' fishbowls. You know what I mean? Like you say
The word
mediocrity, like,
mediocre.
yeah, mediocre. I mean, as a word, I mean, it's got a tinge to it that you can't deny. But in
Yeah,
Japanese, I
not.
can't even
It
think,
does.
like
Yeah,
in
that's true.
English, we say like normies and we say cis or we say, all these things that have a derogatory meaning now, but they didn't
Yes.
used to.
Well, yes, because mediocre, the average, the actual definition says of average quality, but then it says not very good. So, yes, it is
Mm.
average, but then on the lower end of average,
But I don't
So it's
think that
like,
people, I don't think I said that people strive for mediocrity. I think I said that people strive to be within a range of,
no,
normal.
I didn't say you said that, but
Yeah.
we could see how others could think that though, you know,
Mm, I
and
can, but that's, but
maybe some people do though too.
But I think
Yeah,
that inability to shift from seeing it as negative to positive, that's the very issue that I'm talking about. So yeah, I understand that people can't see it, but you got to squint your eyes and look, diagonally a little sometimes because
mhm.
this warm bath of, if you want to call it mediocrity or normalcy, places you within the comfort of knowing that things are going to be okay. You're going to have a certain
Yeah,
normalcy.
safe.
It's also a contract with the government in a way. right? Normalcy, what does it mean? It means, okay, healthcare. Okay, it means a little bit of Social Security. It means, some insurance. It means,
Hmm.
security, right? That's also normalcy. But
It's
if I
safety. Yeah.
if I project a society for you where you can have these massive differences, right? And you see the relationship between me saying you don't really deserve water, dude. It's you can if you can't buy it, sorry, you out, bro. Can you see the relationship between that and saying that there are superior people and less superior people, and let's all strive to get to the top, and the president of the United States should be able to press a button and have a nuclear bomb drop. You know what I mean? It's like it's all outside the range of what a Japanese person would consider normal.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I
Hmm.
found Japan to be like, and within boundaries, people can also grow and be very creative.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
sometimes it's the boundaries that allow children to. But if you say to a kid, "Yeah, you can do anything, whatever you want," they don't know what to do. But if you say, "Here's your room. Within this room, you can do whatever you want," they'll do amazing shit.
yeah, that's true. I would say
So
say things with caveats nowadays. Like, yeah, you
yeah,
can do pretty much whatever what you want, but realize there comes to sacrifice to it. You're gonna have to sacrifice some things, and also too, like what you said, there are also boundaries. If you want to be realistic about what you want, you got to consider to have boundaries so you can work out, this ambition you have. So yeah, yeah.
you know how many black guys you know in Japan that just say, first of all, I'm just glad that I don't have to worry about my, fucking getting killed or harassed by the police, you know?
Hmm.
And then, like, and from there, I can start, like, moving on to other issues. But that's a pretty primary issue. And that's what I'm talking about, boundaries allowing for creativity to flourish because you have to have certain conditions, and the
Yeah, then
conditions
it's
require
definitely
boundaries.
I mean, I identify as a black guy living in Asia, and yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely it is nice not to have on my mind that if I get pulled over, I could get shot, or
right,
even not even on the other side, I can be in the neighborhood and be shot by people that look like me.
right,
Like
right, right,
other
right,
black
right,
people. So that
right.
is nice. However,
Yeah,
though, in my mind I still think though there's still police, and anything could happen, man. And
um,
I've seen some videos
yeah,
too where
not much.
maybe they weren't killed, but I've seen numerous videos of black people being harassed, young black
Yeah,
people being
yeah,
harassed in Japan.
yeah.
But it's not like as in general, it's not as bad as the
The
United
numbers are
States.
not there. Yeah, the numbers aren't, comparable.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're working a 9 to 5 and you're teaching, say, English, like, right?
Hmm.
And if you're in the moment, if you're in the flow and you're like, you love your student and you can feel that dude's attention on you and he wants to get exactly what you got to give. And um, when you're not resisting, right? And then the day goes by a lot easier. So what does that teach us? It's a mental slavery. It's not a, of course, work conditions are really, really important, but it can be hell or heaven, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's just like life is like that,
Yeah,
especially when
life
we
is.
have your job. It's just a state of
Yeah.
mind, heaven and hell, and
So
also too, like depending on if you're really conscious in your job, even if you let's say you do hate it when you zoom out, you don't want to be doing this. But if you probably were to focus on the task at hand, what you're
right.
doing, you won't have as much time to hate it as much as you do because your
Oh,
mind's not wandering
you know
and
what that reminds me of?
thinking about
That reminds me of this thing I studied in
issues.
college. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, I just free flowing thinking. In college, I
Uh,
was taking this Buddhism class, and um, they taught us this thing called the Suzuki method, which was in the 50s developed by this guy named Suzuki, right, in Japan, and it was to treat people with social anxiety. You know, people who are just freaking out by social
mhm,
interactions and stuff like that, or thinking too much, and shinkeishi to a nervous personality, right?
mhm,
And what they did is they basically they brought these guys into I think temples, and they made them sit, in silence. You know what I mean? Like it's silent. There's no TVs or anything like that, and they had to do tasks.
yeah.
Clean the garden, clean the temple. Really menial stuff. Whatever, washing dishes. Making food for the priests, and The other time was just spent, to themselves. They were forced to be by themselves, really, essentially, with no distractions. And
Yeah.
um, then they began to find that the tasks, becoming involved in the tasks was really the only thing that they could do. There's no
Mm,
sensory inputs that are distracting them enough to uh, flee the moment, right?
okay.
They're stuck in the moment. And, I experienced that harsh reality in a different way. I was stuck in my own moment because I was forced to not look in the future, and I was forced to not look in the past. And so I did experience that for a while. And yeah, I think that the universe teaches you what you got to learn, harsh lessons.
No, that's a good method. I look at these people on Kensington Avenue in Pennsylvania on the screen. I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah, I'm
This is a
seeing it.
walkabout from
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
yesterday, I think. And like maybe these people, their some of their mental anguish is exacerbated because they have so much time on their hands too.
yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have a
yeah.
task. It's
No,
kind of like the Suzuki method. I wonder if
I
it could
mean,
help these. Look at them,
I
they're like
totally agree with
zombies.
you. And this brings, we're talking about Viktor Frankl earlier, and like,
Mhm.
but purpose and hope,
Purpose, yes, yes,
purpose. And so
mhm,
if each one of these guys was paid a living wage, okay, because
mhm.
there are places to live, right? And when there's there's cat machines in medical clinics all over that are not being used, right? When
Yeah,
all of these resources not being used, if they could get paid to clean up the very place that they're in, and in a little 5 foot square that they're standing and zombifying out, that was their
yeah,
square, and they had to keep that motherfucker clean, and it was their, in that sense, it was their square, right?
yeah. Right.
you know, and all they had to do was keep that thing clean and maybe help the next persons if they couldn't clean their thing, and then they
Hmm.
begin to love their neighborhood, and then it's their neighborhood, so they, it's like
Yeah.
it could be done, but the fact is, um, I don't know. It's never,
Well, let's pull it back. That's a
terrible.
great thing. Your environment, right? That's first principle. Or maybe we could say second principle. What's the first principle though? Your body.
Yeah, your body.
Body.
You want to start
Most
with your
people
body,
don't.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah, that way
absolutely.
you can be good with other people too,
Right. I mean,
right?
you're literally, you're extending out from your very core and getting capacity to help yourself and then capacity to help other people, but
Yes.
first, um, and it's true in a spatial way too, your environment, just like your body. So they're living in the most, I mean, look at that place, man.
Yeah.
And
They
it's
all
just
stand the
like,
same way too.
I just realized that America had broken the social contract long, long, long ago. Long.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're not going to say that a city's responsibility is to, maintain its livability, look, this is like Rome as it's collapsing. Obviously,
Yes. Yes.
it's just not even worth a conversation. Look
Right.
at that, you know, and people are
Yeah.
just going crazy right now, crazy.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
thought we'd reached maximum crazy long time ago.
No, no,
No.
no, my friend. You ain't seen
But
nothing yet.
hold my
Now check
beer.
this out. Oh my beer, yeah, America. Like check this out, man. Like we're talking about people. Go back to what you said to reset about the Japanese. It's they're okay with not being uh in the Western way special, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
because they find comfort and even um probably in their own way uniqueness in those boundaries,
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes, 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 yes,
um,
yes, yes, yes. That's right. That's right. That's right.
and and feel accomplished and have motivation for doing what they're doing. Whereas the American way, the Western way, is at least, especially for the people at the quote unquote top, they're always telling you to get after it. And like, listen to this. I want to show you this. This is what Andrew Tate
Plus,
has to say
Americans
about
close the door
Unify.
after they get in there. You know, once
Yeah, a lot of them
Americans,
do.
they do.
A lot of them do. Yeah,
That's not quite as prevalent either, because the
yeah.
extremes are just not. The extremes are not that extreme. So
Yes.
you
Here's an
know,
extreme. Here's an extreme right here for you.
who's
Married
that?
to a woman, had a couple of kids, go on his 2 or 3 holidays a year, and he said to you he was happy.
I'll say congratulations. I would genuinely say congratulations if you're happy with that. And I know that's like a pretty normal setup. If you're happy with that, absolutely congratulations, and I don't look down on you. That's perfectly fine. But some men are just not born that way. Some men are born with something else inside of them, with a fire inside of them, which cannot be extinguished by beans on toast, TV at night, 9 to 5, sitting around with your wife. Some men are not. Some men are not satisfied with that. I know me as an individual, I could not be satisfied with that.
And that's true.
That's
Some
fine.
people are like
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But true. But the other thing too that he's not putting out there is that within his let's just call it his expectations, his ground floor and his top floor of his expectations. So he's got this fire in him, okay?
Hmm.
Now, in one society where the floor is this low and the ceiling is this high, he's gonna need to go to that ceiling, right? Because it's all about dominance and putting down the other people for him, right? Climbing on top of people. But if the ceiling's lower, he's going to be satisfied with a lower ceiling because it's all he's going to know. So if you're born in an American society and with that quote unquote fire, you might have to become an absolutely ruthless CEO, you know,
Hmm.
ripping off people as badly as you can. Now, if you're
Yeah.
born in Peru in a fucking tribe, maybe you're happy
Hmm.
being the person who can climb to the tree the fastest. So he can't. He's everything is so culturally bound in what he said that it's true, but it's also you got to see it with the proper perspective that it's culturally bound.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's more than just a Western way, and this is why he gives himself an out. I think right here when he says this, the caveat.
Doesn't
Yeah,
mean I look down on the people who are. Absolutely, congratulations. But my time on the planet, I guarantee, will be more eventful. I will die with more stories. I would have made a bigger
yeah,
ripple
okay,
in,
sure.
in space time because I refuse to comply with just the average, this is okay, you'll be happy with this, take it.
That's true. And like, yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
I definitely see your point, but I also see what he's saying too.
But what I'm
So like,
saying about the normalcy is not a description of where you are. Okay, imagine again what I said about the top floor and the bottom floor. That's a
mhm,
kind of you know imagine a top floor and a bottom floor. Okay, now within that you're going to rise to the bottom to the top, or you're going to fall to the bottom. Now you can have the same top floor and bottom floor, but it's in a smaller range, and the people who want to rise to the top are rising to the top of that. It's a small range, but you're within a range of normalcy in a society that is not sociopathic. I mean, because if your ceiling is so high that you're crushing people below you, you're
yeah,
entering you know, sociopathic behavior.
yes,
So the society must define the range of normal behavior on some level. You know,
uh-huh,
and a society can be, you know, it can start wars, or it can be a country like Sweden that really done ain't going to be starting any wars. They're just right.
hmm,
But America
yeah.
is a really it's an outlier. It's a complete outlier as a society, and you have to see that.
Yeah, most people don't see it, man. I hear a lot of ignorant things, not just about the 9 to 5 and the economics, but cultural things about like male female dynamics, marriage. Like people say
Yeah,
some wacky stuff because they're only looking at their centric point of view, whether it be
it's
European centric, black
yeah,
centric, American
yeah,
centric,
Jew
Japanese.
centric.
I mean, I don't know, Jew
Or
centric. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Nazi centric, like all that, man.
But
Like all
because of
that.
the threat, everybody is increasingly, it's all a question of if you view people as an enemy or not, right?
Hmm.
Now, um, if you want to go back to strictly to primate evolution, animal evolution, how do animals know that, an animal is not an enemy, right? It's their
Yeah.
smell, it's their pheromones, it's their,
Uh
right?
huh.
And so we've evolved in a way to notice whether a person is an enemy or not, and definitely us too. Look at chimpanzee behavior, brother. They're they're brutal. They're brutal. If they're brutal, and we're just as brutal. And so, if you want to say that complete tolerance for everyone, complete, immigration, right? It just doesn't matter. Every society is the same. Basically, they're just a little different, but they're all equal, and right. And so everybody can just mix with everybody. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Just be tolerant. But not everybody's tolerant. You know that there's like religious wackadoos who are not tolerant. So how are you going to say that just because you're tolerant, it's going to work out, right?
That's
Like
ignorant, and that's
that's
like
just
that. Like
ignorance.
you haven't been exposed to
It's
real
it,
opposition to what
it's
you're thinking.
ignorance in the true sense of the word. It's ignorance.
Yeah,
It's not. It's
yeah.
not. I'm not saying they're dumb. It's like you're saying they're
No,
ignorant.
they haven't had experience with those
Yeah.
things, and I'm meeting some people that recently getting into this techno like this studying the researching the technocratic society and how that's kind of like in some ways you can make a case that that has to do with a lot of the ills of humans in society,
What do you
and
mean
in
by
these
technocratic?
just like how technology
I mean, like people
has,
hacking their bodies and stuff, that kind of thing.
yeah, I mean that's an extreme version of it, but even things that we consider conveniences have actually ended up freeing up a lot of time
Oh
and
yeah,
also
yeah, yeah, yeah.
caused us to have like take on surrogate activities, which are like things that were meant to make
Don't-
a goal become more efficient, achieve your goal more efficient. When in fact, by using these doing these surrogate activities with the technology we have, we're actually detaching ourselves from our original goal and just doing
I mean,
basically like busy work.
you're getting right down to the absolute core of it,
Yeah.
because the question is like, what is it that becomes a life? It's like John Lennon said, um, so, like, or no, what is it? Life happens when you're making other plans. I think it was John Lennon. Paraphrase
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
it does. That's why you
um,
go for a walk when you're working on a project or something. After you've been
or
busting your head, go for a walk
yeah,
and do something
because
else.
ultimately it's a question like, well, if you can do Uber Eats and you can order everything to your house and you
Uh-huh.
can get your dishes done automatically and you can get this done automatically, what is it? So you're buying time, right? You're buying time.
Yeah, by
What are you
time.
buying time? What is that? How are you going to fill that time that you've now bought? Okay. And if it's just going to be to see what's on Netflix, then
Yeah.
it would have been better to wash your dishes by hand and to look at the
Uh-huh.
sparkle on the dishes. Take some fucking LSD and wash your dishes. You'll be like,
Yeah, that
wow,
would make
man.
it a lot more interesting.
And like,
Yeah, probably
that's
would
the
be more of
lesson
an
that,
adventure. Yeah.
that's the lesson that,
I don't know how
I
efficient you
mean,
would be, but
any
definitely
job, any,
fun.
any, any drug, many drugs teach you that lesson.
Yeah, even
Initially.
it'll even make a church experience or a synagogue or temple experience more exciting and
Yeah.
more alive.
So,
Yeah,
so what
but
is
let
it?
me go back to
It's
to
attention. It's attention. It's just
yes,
attention.
yes.
It's where we
Attention
place
to
our
what you're
attention.
doing. Absolutely.
What are you
This is the
looking at?
biggest conspiracy. This is the big we can talk about the Trump assassination scammo, or
Hmm.
we can talk about space and the moon, what is it, flat earth and all that. But to
Yeah.
me, the biggest conspiracy is this conspiracy we have in what we do with our attention and how precious it is, and how because we put our attention on meaningless things, we become this false version of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
You know
that's the
what? You know what made me
conspiracy.
laugh? You know what made
Yeah,
me laugh is you said
that's
how important it is, how important it is. But like even that statement is, it made me laugh because at that moment I thought to even say that it's important is such a terrible mistake in a
mhm.
way because it isn't important. It is literally the only thing that you have and the only thing that you ever had and ever
Oh
will
yeah,
have is your awareness, right? Your
yeah,
attention. Each up that moment's gone, up that moment's gone.
yeah.
That's the only thing that we're equipped with.
Hmm.
Basically it's our awareness. And if you can grab that, then if you can grab that
And
away from me and me searching for something positive to do, like when I was a kid, then
right in
you've
the moment.
stolen you've stolen everything from me, right? And so to bring it back to the work thing, you can still have that when you're at work. However, you're working on the agenda of someone else's, pay, for example, right?
Yeah, this is
But
what
you
Charles
still,
Bukowski said in his letter, his rant.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Taking
but
somebody
you
else's
still
risk.
have the ultimate freedom of um, surrendering to the moment that you're in and paying attention to it and paying interest in it. You've got to find interest in what you're doing or it
Yes,
won't work.
absolutely. Yeah,
interest or hope or meaning or all of the above.
Yeah, and probably the most shit. The way to do it is the more universal way to do it is just learn how to focus your attention on what you're doing. So it doesn't matter what it is.
My son's first job
You'll be
was Starbucks. He started working at Starbucks.
okay.
It's been 3 years now. His first job, and he's kept it for 3 years now. Um, God, has it? No, it's not been. He's in his third year, I should say.
Uh-huh.
This is after his mom dies.
Hmm.
And at first I was like, Jesus Christ, he's becoming a freaking Jesus Christ Starbucks man, cog in the
Hmm.
machine. Like, can you pick a
Yeah.
worse, thing?
Hmm.
That's my American perspective. And then
Hmm.
I'm thinking about what my wife would have said. And there's many, many positive things about this, especially if you embrace the experience and you find something in it of worth, which is service, which is, ultimately on some level, you're giving people what they want,
Right.
right? And so you're serving it to them with a smile and making their day a little brighter. Doesn't make your day worse to make their day brighter. In fact, the opposite is true, right? If and so you should be able to find some meaning. I remember when I first came to Japan and I saw people, it was much more so back then because it was like 35 years ago. But I'd see, people sweeping the streets and they're fucking happy. Like, oh, I'm making the streets so clean. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. How can they not see that they're in slavery? You know? But then my mind began to shift. So how can I not? How would my wife view working at Starbucks for 2 years? She would view it as him showing consideration towards others and being having enough self mastery that he can take those 6 hours or whatever or 8 hours or whatever and devote it to the task that's in front of him, find some meaning in it, do well with the workers around him and the
Mhm.
customers, right? So if you want to say that's mediocre and I just can't live like that, that's fine. I understand that. But even that guy recognized the fact and said that he doesn't look down on it. That's going to be the mass of people. And I began to question a lot of things. My oldest daughter, who grew up predominantly in America, has the same questioning, demanding, arguing thing as me, the one I was born with, right?
Mhm.
Always wanting to achieve it's like medical, it's like Western medicine. You got to destroy that person in order to be right? And I can see both ways of living. That daughter I'm talking about now works in the UN and she's rising to the top. She has less luck in personal relationships. She
Mhm.
has less luck in getting along with people, but she sure may be rising to the top and can defeat people in a conversation. But she's sacrificing certain things. And this normalcy or mediocrity is getting along with your fellow human beings and who are the mass of humanity. And I don't know. I think it
It's
leads
true.
to. I think it leads to
It's the choir, man. It's the
if you're
choir, the
living in
chorus.
the chorus, you're in the chorus, and as long as the church looks nice, you don't mind. But if your church is falling apart, you
Yeah,
know.
it's true. Very
So
tough.
Japan offers pretty good services, pretty good. You can be a mediocre person, but take some really nice vacations and have people treat you like a king and wash your feet and sit in hot baths and you know everything that Trump would want to do. You can do that a few times a year. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's
You
good.
have it good because you immersed yourself in the culture. I can see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good that you did that. Whereas some yeah, for me, it's a good place. I realize I'm in a good place, but I haven't quite got there yet because I haven't
yeah,
immersed myself yet
yeah,
completely with language, for
yeah,
example. But
yeah,
it's good, and I
yeah,
think you're right. We do lose things, and to reset what you said about the monkeys and stuff like that. Like I don't know necessarily for me. I believe that like everyone we all came from monkeys and all that, but we definitely have animal nature in us, and
yeah,
but we're also humans. It's like we're trapped in the middle of an animal and a
yeah.
divine being here as a human, and to get that divine beings that part of us, we sacrifice being in the moment like an animal seems to be. and being able
Mm,
to enjoy just being, what we're in, and not have to worry the anxiety about about what happened in the past or what happened in the future. And then I think really dog, maybe because I have dogs and this is what I live with, but I
mm,
think maybe dogs are the few, maybe cats too, but dogs show it more. Dogs are probably one of the few animals that literally are as neurotic as humans,
mm,
because
mm.
they spend so much time mastering our emotions and like studying us,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
bro. Cats are
they
not.
end up becoming
Cats are not
neurotic.
neurotic. Cats are
Yeah.
not. Cats are not neurotic at all. Cats know how to find comfort for themselves. They take care of their own poop. They hide it, and they don't
Mhm.
care really what I'm thinking that much, at all.
No, dogs love it. They're constantly like the girls, my girls. They're constantly doing power plays.
Dogs
They're
are weird as
always
fuck,
yeah.
man.
They're about their hierarchy. Kind of like the Andrew Tate. That
I,
was Andrew Tate.
it's
That
not
video.
just that. Well, okay, but what about all that weird shit? Like your dog will like break something, and then they're like, you look at them and they know that they know,
They
and
feel
then
bad.
they start like wagging their tail and like,
Yep, and they look
then
sad. They know
they look sad,
they
but they're
tell you they
wagging their
get you.
tail, and
Yeah,
they're saying, "Please don't be mad,
they're very
Daddy. I'm
anxious.
cute." It's so
Exactly.
strange.
No, it's so
So
even
strange.
stranger that like Trinity, the Jaja, the big sis, she's 8, and then Dreamy, she's 1.5. She's new, right? And so when Dreamy gets into stuff, right, and
Yeah,
because she's straight feral dog, but Trinity's
yeah,
a good girl, a suck up.
yeah,
She
yeah.
sucks up
So,
really good. So when I get home and I see Trinity with her head all meek and wagging her tail, oh, I know the other one did something.
oh, no kidding. So Trinity feels guilty, even though Trinity didn't do it.
Exactly, exactly. She's like,
That's
she's
oh
like
my
the jam
god,
Brady.
that's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's so
She's taking
funny.
responsibility for the other dog's behavior.
Exactly. Yeah, and she's giving it away. Well, the other one's like, huh? Like, huh? I didn't do
That's
nothing.
yeah,
Like
that's really
Parsimony,
funny.
it was like that when I got there. Yeah, type
Yeah,
of
that's
shit.
pretty funny.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm about to go get Ben in a second. There's one thing I wanted to bring up too. Oh man, we're bringing up so much good points and stuff.
Still, we didn't talk about 5D, which I wanted to ask you if you knew anything about that, and does it relate to this conversation?
5D. What's that?
My guru guy sort of told me that yesterday, the 21st, July 21st, this full moon was particularly important because of the Jupiter moving past the Earth, and
Hmm.
um, a lot of things are, tremendous things are happening, and this 5D has to do with the gateway is now open quite wide for our thoughts and our preferences and our desires to come into fruition if we focus our vibrations correctly, he says, and that this is related to the changing from carbon to silicon.
Oh, that's why you were talking about Silicon. I thought you were talking about Silicon
Yeah,
Valley.
yeah,
Silicon, yeah.
yeah. And I thought, oh,
Hey,
Gabe will know about that.
Um, it does seem like there's something special going on in it, and it goes back a couple months ago with the big eclipse that happened.
Uh-huh.
A lot of folks think that we have a new sun, energy coming from the sun that's really unlocking things in
Mm,
people's bodies for the
mm,
upgrade.
mm,
I guess you call
mm.
it five. Your mentor calls it 5D, like getting into the 5 dimensions, right? But which is also
Exactly,
causing a lot of pain
exactly.
and anguish with people, and people are literally
Yes.
going through pains they never experienced before.
Yeah.
Some people are killed people, right? And in this weekend, it was well, today there's a full moon. It's a full
Yes.
moon in Capricorn, and Capricorn's all about structure and discipline, and also
Mm.
father time, the time and stuff. And it does seem like we are kind of expanding on these things because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's the largest planet in the solar system, right?
Ah. Ah.
It's about expansion and
You know, and he
just
says this.
opportunity and being optimistic and lucky and shit,
So
so
yeah, he was telling me like right now it's and even today, okay, 21st was yesterday, but the moon's influence. I mean, Jupiter's influence. He says is really strong right now. So please, 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 think positive thoughts, right now, because our thoughts are being very um, transmittable, let's just say.
Well, yeah, this is probably why they had that whole Masonic sorcery theater of the Trump assassination attempt, and
Mm.
also the Joe Biden
Yeah, I mean, this is
dropping
a
out, which is weird because technically it's too late to drop out. His name's going to be on the ballot no matter what. So
listen.
does this mean there's not going to be no fucking
Any way
election
you
or what?
slice it,
Weird.
democracy has been shredded, shredded.
Say it again. Say democracy with the demon part.
Democracy with the big,
The demon. Yeah.
yeah, democracy with the capital D. No,
Mhm.
which has been in effect, has been revealed, and the democracy with a capital D has been absolutely, the fact that it was shredded a long time ago has been completely revealed. I mean, whatever side you want to look at, in any way you want to look at the United States political situation, democracy went through the shredder a long time ago, and people are just noticing the little shredded pieces. And one of them's Biden, one of them's Trump, the Pelosi, all the Supreme Court. They're all shredded little pieces of paper, and that is not a democracy. Get ready for Ecuador, United States, or something, because that shit could go up at any time. America just is not stable in any way, shape, or form. And if there was a military thing in the shape of
Mhm.
some other thing, I wouldn't be surprised in the least. That shit about to go up.
You mean the
Really?
Civil War, like the movie?
Yeah. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, just
Maybe. I think
like,
people are too lazy though to
what would
link
you
up.
think happened if Trump had been killed? What would have happened? It would have been
Right, people will be maybe losing their mind, and there'll be some violence and stuff like that. But with that said, even then, bro, it's like Wally, bro. Wally, the movie. Motherfuckers are still the militias
okay,
are
okay,
they've
okay.
always
All
been
right.
on point to a certain point, but even the people, most of these people are debating on StreamYard and
Yeah,
in
that's exactly the
discords.
point, though. So the
They're
point is
not
that,
talking. They're not gonna
okay,
do
all
shit,
right,
pick up a gun and bust it,
I'm not talking about them doing shit. I'm talking about
huh?
I'm talking about the fact that you could, okay. I mean, I don't know any specifics, but I'm saying things are moving so big that um, it could be Trump, it could be Jill Biden, it could be Michelle Obama. I don't fucking know, but
Huh?
it wouldn't take much in order to get the. When you have people that are as lazy and Wally-ish as they are now,
Yeah.
it ain't going to take that much leverage of power in order
What?
to, do whatever. I mean, you're already
Whatever.
looking
Be
at it.
specific. Be specific.
Well, it depends on who wins,
I mean, are we
but
talking about? I'll keep it simple. Are we talking violence? That's what really
we're
moves the world.
we're
When it
already
comes,
in, but like we're already in violence.
not but
I
what
mean,
people are theorizing. Look at our good friend Anna Puma, which is she's in the chat right now. She's a brilliant woman. Uh,
but
she's very
it's a
versed in Vedic astrology. But listen to this real quick, bro. I'll
okay,
get back
okay,
to
okay.
you right now.
All right.
She said this in a counterpoint to what we're saying. She asked the question. She said, "What happened when JFK died? Who was the most beloved president of all time?" By both sides, you can say in a lot of ways.
All right.
Nothing. She says business as usual, and people there and people out there back then were more willing to get up and do shit, I would think, than nowadays.
I think
I
that's
mean,
in a way, it's a preposterous statement because are you going to say that after the assassination of JFK, a lot of things didn't change in a certain direction? Are you going to say that if JFK had not been killed, things wouldn't have gone in a completely different direction? That's preposterous. She
would
simply
not have, would not
no.
have.
I mean, is this person saying that things wouldn't that different realities didn't
No,
diverge
when he was
tremendously?
killed, when he was killed, I mean, Lyndon B.
My,
Johnson like switched up the program a little bit, but it
well,
is
I don't
business
know.
as
I mean, this sounds to me like obviously we only wound up in this reality, so we can't really judge. But to say that nothing changed, even though JFK was
not
assassinated,
nothing changed, but it was. I mean, the plan's still going on, man. The way
yeah.
it
But I don't
is.
know if JFK was. Who knows if he was in opposition to the plan or
Oh,
who?
absolutely. Right.
Nobody
He's
knows. But
opposition to somebody. Some people
yeah,
think that I heard that Nixon was the last real president we had since then. Now, and I'm not talking about if you like Nixon's ideas or
yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah.
but like literally what we've gotten so far is a bunch of Jimmy Carter, George Bush. Like these guys aren't really doing nothing, bro. It's just like probably like the
They're
deep state.
basically steering the boat in the same. They're all steering the boat in the same
Yeah.
direction. I generally agree with that. However, there have been some very big movements like NAFTA. That was a huge thing. Or
Mm-hmm.
Reagan's busting the unions was a huge thing. The privatization. Those are all enormous things that lead
Okay,
to the
you're right.
difference. That lead to the difference between your Philadelphia Kensington looking the way it does and it not looking the way it does. Now I don't know if we need a dictator to get in and fix that shit for a
That took
while
years
because
though. That took years.
ask a
You
Filipino
made the way
person,
you.
man. Ask a Filipino person how they feel about that guy who was killing all the drug dealers. What was his name? That right wing guy, right?
Duarte. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
them
yeah.
don't like him
And a lot of them do like him because
because
he's
they
at least
killed a lot of their families innocently.
yeah,
They were
but he
innocent.
also but a lot of them do like him because they know
Yeah, for
that
sure,
to
for
set the
sure.
conditions for justice, you need to clean this like you literally need to clean the streets sometime. You know,
Yeah.
Kensington, nothing's ever going to go right there until that shit gets cleaned up. I mean, even just on a physical level, right? So if I was to be a hard ass and went in there as a governor, or whatever, a mayor of that town, and I had the power to, the first thing I'd do is clean the fucking
Philadelphia.
streets, you know, like literally just clean the needles off the street. Like, how are you going to
I think they
start?
do that. They do that to a certain extent, and but then it just comes back again like a fungus because core things aren't taken care of. It's their
Yeah,
Amsterdam. It's their Amsterdam open air
I'm just
drug
saying
market.
that.
So
I'm just
other
saying
parts
it.
of the
It,
city.
it would probably require that laws that are not in effect in Manhattan be instituted in Kensington. A little more hard ass policies, maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more dictatorial. But what I
Oh
was saying
yeah.
about the violence before is I think we're already in a civil war with violence, and it's just
Uh,
a boiling frog. It's just a boiling frog phenomena, and you can say we're not in it because
we're not, bro.
it's such a slow
Because
boil. But
yeah, I see what you're saying. We're on that way, but like slow boy, but that's kind of disrespectful to people who've been in real civil, like actual civil wars, like Bosnians and Serbs that literally had their whole families killed, and then other places throughout the world where there's Yemen, or there's literally civil
yeah,
war,
I mean,
Sudan. So like
yeah,
this is not a civil war yet.
I know,
There's a
I
lot of
know,
shit. There's a lot of shit talking, definitely,
I know
but
that.
I
Yeah.
still don't think that's my opinion. Maybe you're right. Uh, I just hope I'm right because I don't want violence and stuff. Because I just think people are so fucking. They got their head up their culo, right? So much
Okay, no,
so that
but,
they can't
but okay,
even.
so I'm not talking about like liberals versus. I'm not talking about like, I hate Trump, I hate Biden. I'm not talking about
No,
that.
no, no. I'm not talking about either because those people are just like I said. They're just in their
Okay,
cerebral just
look at
intellects.
Leeds. Look at a video of Leeds, London. From a couple days ago, or look at Spain, or look at any country with like neighborhoods that have like 50% immigrants from these nations that are they're fleeing from the Middle East and all the violence there, for example, or from Africa and all the violence there. But mostly, I'm thinking Middle East. And if they're
Okay.
coming with complete religious instructions, and they're coming with a downloaded, you know, um, cultural software that they're not going to swap out ever, and
Yeah.
they're coming with a lot of hatred and baggage, and they're coming to a place that they're not equipped to accept, don't want to accept, there's going
Hmm.
to be conflict. And if it's in large enough numbers, there's eventually going to be civil war. You know that as a historian or as a
Hmm.
just study it. I mean, these are enormous movements of people. It's not even, we're not talking about like a couple people in your class. We're talking about an entire class or 75% of the
This,
class suddenly becoming like
this,
insert name.
this is why. Yeah, this is why in Japan and Taiwan, other places like it, that they accept for the most part blacks and Jews and anyone else that's a foreigner because there's not many very much of us. But
Mm-hmm.
but like that they actually like us, you know. But
Yeah.
I don't know who knows what would happen if it was just overrun with
Because they
us
know that they know that ultimately you have to adopt to their system.
exactly. We have to assimilate. Yeah.
But I was
Hmm.
in Kyoto the other day, and the yen is at its lowest in like 40 years.
That's
Kyoto's
right. I'm gonna go
completely
there.
Kyoto's
Visit you.
complete. It's completely overrun, man. By and
Shit.
and it was such a beautiful. Town because it was
Is
their
is it
town.
Arab and African mostly or
Uh,
European? What's going on?
no, no,
Who's
no.
there?
It's mostly no. There's a lot of white European people. I
European,
mean, no, but the majority, of course, is Asian.
yeah. Hmm.
The
Well,
vast
yeah, but
majority
the
is
foreign the
Chinese
foreign
and
element.
Korean. After Chinese and Korean, you have Americans and Europeans and all that
Yeah,
stuff. But
right.
it's just the numbers are huge. It's everybody is coming here, and all the signs. Suddenly, instead of a quaint little town with 1,000 temples, it's 1,000 temples selling, you know, snow cones. You know, with signs that say, please do not drop your garbage. Please, not even, and they're
Yeah,
starting to hate on all the tourists, of course, and the
yeah.
tourists are, yeah, and so it's not even the original place that it
Not
was
fun anymore,
anymore.
right?
Yeah, well, it's not just fun anymore. It's not what it was. It's not the thing that people came to visit it, and in the act of visiting it, they changed it so much that they're now visiting a stage, a Hollywood stage, basically, because it's not its authenticity has been wiped out. It's being
Yep.
wiped, to some degree. So
Okay. No, you have the final word. I want to keep going tomorrow. I gotta pick up Bodhi though. Bodhisattva.
my final word.
Right now.
All right,
Yeah.
my
No,
final
that
word.
was your final word. I gotta go.
All right, bro.
This Anna was leaving some good comments. She agrees with you on the sense that we're already in it, the war. I think she was saying.
Nice.
Um, but I like what she says here. Let's have a war on. We don't want a full fledged war, she said, but let's
Mm.
have a war on wealth and assets. Oh, I say for me, I'll say let's have a war on poverty,
I'd say,
like the
yeah.
great
I
brother
would say let's have a
Rashida.
war. Let's have a war let's have a war on how low the bottom floor is, because there's always going to be a bottom. But unless you set that thing higher, you don't have the conditions for life. So that's my
Right.
bottom.
I feel you on that. So that's and she said one last word. Thank you, on our friend.
Yeah.
She said namaste. Have a good one. And
Yeah.
that's what you meant. Yeah, I get you. And this has been fun, man. Let's do it again soon.
Sure, brother. One love, everybody. One love, Anna.
Hmm. One love. And like for y'all you working your 9 to 5s, or you who don't, or chill like Kensington, whatever it be,
Hey, like
take
Bob
care of
Marley said,
yourself.
emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the Vernon Howard way of thinking. Mental slavery of
Yeah.
being attached to this false version of the self, and enjoy this 5D download, like our friend Jeremy was saying. Shout out to Machine Lives and the crew, and then my hyperspace Discord. And we'll see you next time
Peace out.
here on the Book of Gabriel. I mean, aka NPC the game. I got so many names.